which leads me to another question. What in the world happened, Israel? Why'd you move away from that and fall in love with law and fall in love with performance? I'm not jumping them. We all do it. We all do it. We even do it to our kids. Oh, I love you, Gucci Gaga. Look at these little cheeks. You're so cute and wonderful. And no, your diaper doesn't stink because all the other kids stink, but yours doesn't stink because you're perfection. You're awesome. And they get a little older, and here comes the rules. And we don't love them less when we put rules on them. But what happens is we want to be obeyed. We want to create good young men and young women in the world. And so there has to be a certain set of consequences that come with these rules. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be. I'm telling you this is a natural progression of life, is what happens to us. Those rules become more than guardrails. Those rules become definitions. I get my allowance and I get a hug and I get a pat on the head if I do this. But if I do that, then I get this and this and this. And those guardrails begin to determine how we treat the rules until the rules become the game in life. And doing becomes the ultimate expression of what it means to be who I am. I don't fault Israel. We all do it. And you know what? I think God knew they would. God's not caught off guard when He gives Israel the law, and a few generations later, no one's believing Him for righteousness. They're all just trying to do the good and avoid the evil. He's not caught off guard. It's what happens. Hey, it happened to a lot of us when we came to Christ and went into church. We were doing okay. Somebody told us we needed Jesus. We went, that sounds great. I'd love to have that man. I'd love to serve him and make him Lord of my life. Awesome. And then we get involved, and then rules. You want to be favored? You want anointing? You want God to bless you? You want God to help you? You want God to do this? You better do this and this and that. And we start jumping. And how high? And before long, the joy that we had when we met Jesus has been replaced by, oh God, they called another service this week. Yes. I'm going to see if my boss needs me to work late that night. Maybe if I'm working late, I got an excuse. I won't have to go. So I can miss it. Before, we're like, I got to get off. I got to be there. But then rules and laws. And people say, oh, that's because sin entered and you lost the luster. I don't think that's it. I think when you meet Jesus and you fall in love with the lovely Jesus, man, there ain't nothing you've ever encountered in this world that's more beautiful than spending time with Him. What happens, the shine comes off the penny when we become convinced that the way to maintain that relationship and grow that relationship is a set of laws and instructions. And how many of you have seen this happen? We replace the burden of sin with the burden of sainthood. Sainthood. And before long, we're going, I'm not sure this was a good trade. I'm not. And then we feel bad for feeling that way, because if you feel that way, did you even really get saved? At least that was kind of the environment I was raised in. I go, why are you asking that question? Don't you believe? Or shouldn't feel that way. If you feel that way, maybe you never really met the Lord. And you go, did I ever really meet Him? And we get confused.